Today, I'm going to show you how to make one of the most important sounds that every single electronic music producer should know how to make. And it's so incredibly important to make because it is a foundational sound for a ton of other extremely important sounds that are widely used in the electronic music genre. So just knowing how to make the sound from scratch and edit it to sound unique to you will give you a great gateway skill for creating a ton of other sounds. So if you're just starting out or relatively inexperienced with sound design, or are an intermediate or professional producer who just wants to sharpen their sound design skills, I highly recommend that you watch this entire video from start to finish so you can soak up every single piece of sound design knowledge I'm about to drop in this video. And of course, there is no question that if you watch this entire video, that your sound design skills, I guarantee, will become at least 20% better. Alright guys, so I made a couple sets of chords and melodies with this sound, so we can see if you recognize it from a couple EDM classics before we go ahead and create the sound from scratch and show you how you can edit it. So that one's from Avicii and Nicky Romero's I Could Be the One. And then here we got Kygo Firestone. And we got Martin Garrix's Forbidden Voices using the same sound. And obviously they sound a little bit different from one another because it's just the same sound, slightly edited. So those are the sounds. Let's go ahead and recreate the sound from scratch. So we got a default Serum loaded up, and by default it gives us this basic saw wave, but I'm going to go ahead into the analog list of waveforms here and just choose MB saw, and this is more of a classic saw wave that is modeled after some really nice vintage synths. So I like to use that one because it's a little bit cleaner, I think. So for this sound, first thing we're going to do is route this synthesizer from the oscillator over to this filter. So right now we're telling Serum to start with this oscillator and then go into this filter by choosing this A thing here, which is by default already chosen. So then we should get this sound. That right there is a pretty amazing basic sound that can go a really long way just knowing how to make that sound. But let's go ahead and keep messing with the sound. Instead of MG low, I'm going to pick an MG low 24. It makes a sharper curve here. And yeah, just like tighter filters. So the next thing I'm going to do is tell Serum that I want this knob to turn so quickly that it creates a plucked sound. And the way we do that is we employ an envelope, one of these not used envelopes here, to go ahead and turn this knob for us. So you can see I just drug it over to here to this knob, and we're basically saying, hey Serum, use envelope 2 to turn this knob for me at a rate of speed so fast that it creates a pluck so that I don't have to stand here and do it myself. And this is called modulation. So I'm going to shorten up the sustain, and I want the decay to be quick, like that. So you can actually see this little dot that goes around the knob here. It goes around so fast that it creates that pluck sound. So watch when I play it, watch how this dot flies around this knob here. Right there, you already have the foundation of your pluck. So now it's all up to you for what you want the sound to sound like. Do you want it to be softer, like a style pluck that Kygo would use in a very deep tropical or deep house song? And then we can go ahead and add some reverb to this sound just to, you know, create a little bit of space. And then anytime you have a plucked synth, it's imperative to add a little bit of delay if it needs it, of course. Like that. And the next thing you can do to edit the sound and make it sound a little bit more unique to you is you can start adding unison. Watch how this sound changes. So right there, we just stuffed some voices in it to make the sound a little bit quicker. And of course, what we could do always is add a second oscillator, but we do have to route this oscillator to the filter by clicking B here. And we can add some serious character to this sound just by adding a different type of wave. So what I'm gonna do is just add a standard square wave. I don't like the fancy square waves. I just like a standard one. And so now we have a half saw, half square hybrid. And and anytime you have a different oscillator, you can mess around with different octaves. And you could get a multi-octave sound like that. So what if we have a version of this sound that is sustained? And we need it to sustain because there's not multiple plucks, like this one. And of course you can use that, but what if you want to fill in the little gaps there? Well, then what you would do is you would go to envelope 2 and tell it that you don't really want to close this cutoff knob all the way for the duration of the sound. So we're going to use the sustain to help us do that. Like that, and you get a nice sustained synth sound. So looking at our Vici Nicky Romero sound, it's the same exact sound, but as you can see in the second oscillator, I started out with a typical square wave, and then I just lengthened the pulse width, I think it's called, and then we get this nasally saw pluck sound. And right there, that's how to take a very basic, very popular, versatile pluck and edit it down to make it sound like yours. And all the edits I did were really, really minor. So what you could do is take what you learned today and then go farther into all of those edits and really create any sound you want to create using the techniques that I showed you in this video today. But if you would like to learn more about sound designing, melodies, chords, arrangement, mixing, and mastering, come join me in my EDM bootcamp. It really is helping so many amazing producers reach their goals. I left a link at the top of the description below so you can go ahead and check that out. And I will see you in the next video.